Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Jamie Englebert, President and Chief Compliance Officer of Englebert Financial Advisors, to discuss managing spending and budgets during the holiday season. Jamie, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Thanks so much for having me, Jill. Yes, everyone knows that right now we're in a very high inflation environment. So let's talk about some tips and tricks that people can do to kind of get through the holiday season this year.
Yep, let's definitely do that, because I feel especially November and December, you're feeling generous, you're having parties, you want to, get hostess gifts, you want to host a party. How do you determine, where am I allocating this budget?
Exactly. So the most important thing that anybody can do is start with a budget. You have to know what you're working for. I personally am a spreadsheet person, so I'm going to have, a tab for family, friends, service professionals that you might want to give a tip to this time of year. Also, like you said, if you're hosting a party or you're going to a party, maybe you want to buy a new outfit, something like that. You've got to factor all of that in. Even sending holiday cards can be very expensive. So what people need to remember is that giving a gift is really a gesture, right? So adults understand right now, and they're feeling the pain of paying, high gas prices, high grocery costs. So if you're buying gifts for, let's say, a younger child, or you've got grandkids who are younger, remember that children have no concept of money, right? You want to give them a gift and acknowledge them, but you don't need to blow it out. If you've got maybe older kids, think about the value of the dollars that you're spending. So maybe they would appreciate an experience more than like a physical item that you're going to give them. So it's really about understanding, what type of gift you're going to give this year. So another thing that people can do is to give a charitable contribution. A lot of times, people want to do that, and you can do that in honor of somebody else and give that as your gift. Another thing that a good strategy that we use in our practice is if you've got somebody who's 73 years old and older who has a retirement account, they've got that required minimum distribution that they have to take every year, which is taxable to them. If they use that money and donate it directly to a charity, it's tax-free. So that's an excellent strategy. Another thing that we like to see is when people use, things that they have in their home to sell, raise a little bit of cash for themselves. Use something like a Craigslist or a Facebook Marketplace to generate a little bit of cash. You can do upcycling with your clothing, send it to a consignment shop. Something like that. There's a lot of tactics you can use.
It's a good excuse to clean out the closet too.
Exactly.
Which is such a daunting task to do on a good day. Of course, there's some don'ts. What are some things that you should not be doing, not only this time of year, but any time of year?
Any time of year, do not max out your credit card and not pay it off just to rack up a whole bunch of gifts that you're gonna, to give to people. You have to be mindful about the money that you're gonna spend. So definitely do not be maxing it out and not paying it off. The other really big don't that we say is don't tap into your 401k, your 457, your 403b, take out a loan to give gifts at holiday time. This is not what that money is for. We meet with people in our practice all the time who are coming to us close to retirement, they're getting ready, and every single time, everybody that we talk to says the same exact thing: I wish I would have saved more. So definitely, bottom line, be mindful about what you're going to spend this year, because we've got to count every dollar in the environment we're in.
I mean, taking a loan from a retirement plan, I'm certainly not passing judgment, but it's like the person probably wouldn't remember what you gave them a year or two from now anyway. Meanwhile, that money is not replaceable. I mean, you need to start saving that as soon as you start working.
Exactly. You don't want regrets at retirement. You're so right. I mean, that's why we say sometimes too, when people want to give an item, think about doing an experience instead, because that person will remember, the memory that they had versus, the item that you're going to give them, spend money on, and they might not appreciate.
So Jamie, people get into debt. It happens. We give all the advice we want, but sometimes it's just human nature. You've acquired all this debt, you're just not able to pay it off, there's no cash flow. Do you recommend certain debts that get priority, or how would you work with credit card companies or lenders?
highest percentage debt gets paid off first. So and that's usually credit cards, right? So start with credit cards. You know, we hate when people say, oh, we're going to put extra money towards our mortgage payment. Well, if your mortgage, you know, if you're only paying 4% or less, that's not where you want to allocate your dollars. Pay off your most expensive debt first, priority always.
All right, Jamie, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.